So we're here today at Millwood High School to have our second Breaking Bread event, and at this event we try to get people around the table, have them share a meal so that they can hear one another's stories, because we think if we can hear one another's stories we can make a full step toward empathy, and that's when you can start to have action and even change.
Last year has been a tough year. It happened right as COVID kicked off, so all of the relationships were not able to continue. So this year we're hoping that by what we learned today, relationships will be formed, authentic relationships will be formed, and we can move the conversation about race and reconciliation forward.
I'm glad to see so many faces and so many participants actually realizing and listening to every corner of this city. So I think the key to what we are trying to do here is hear those specific issues, concerns, and most importantly, ideas on how you guys think your city will be better.
And that's what makes events like this so important, is so that we can all get together and see each other just as human beings, and with a common goal in mind to make our community safer for everyone. What I've learned the most is that when you talk at each other, nobody listens. When you talk to each other, people listen, and I've learned that listening is way more important than talking.
Chris Singleton is here today to talk about his pain, to talk about his wound. His mom was taken from him by the shooter at the church in South Carolina, and yet Chris is traveling the country saying we can move on from these sorts of things, we can move on from these tragic situations, but not until we hear one another's story and understand the depth of their pain. And so Chris, by virtue of telling us about his pain, is helping us to retell the story of our own aches and pains in the hopes of moving forward into a better future.
We wanted to bring him in because he has a really unique story as he deals with tragedy, forgiveness, and unity. A young person with that much wisdom really gives us a lot of hope for where we can be.
People see my story, they look at me, and the first question they ask, they say, Chris, what's your why? Like, how do you go around and talk about your mom being killed because she's black? Now we see that you've forgiven your mother's killer, yes, but now you're going around and talking about unity right after your mother was murdered because of the color of her skin. I'll share my heart, my perspective, and hopefully I'll change some hearts in here today. I'm intentional with having friends that think differently than me. I'm intentional with that because it's the reason why you think what you think. And oftentimes I've seen it. I think somewhere along the lines we've forgotten, and I think it's up to us to reteach this now. We've forgotten, and nobody chooses where they're from.
There's so many things that he said that we could take away, but one of the things that I'll walk away with is that we can have open, honest dialogue and sharing our story with one another first before we start sharing our opinion. That way we don't get canceled, we get brought into relationship, and now we give each other time and space to learn.
I don't get canceled. I don't. Because what I'll do is I'll make sure I go to my friend and say, hey, you know what? How would you prefer I say this or that before I say it? And so we say something without empathy, and what happens is somebody doesn't know your character, they don't know you as a person, and so they hear it and they say, I don't know if I'm rocking with them like that no more. And they don't get canceled with me when they ask me a question that they probably would get canceled if they ask it in the open, because we have that relationship. Now the unfortunate thing that I've seen is people don't have those relationships. They don't. They think, you know what, man, I want to, but it's kind of awkward. And I say, well, you have to be intentional with it. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird asking somebody, hey, you mind if I ask you a quick question about how you feel when police pull you over? Behind every opinion, there's a story. So before you write somebody off, hear their story. With that being said, I thank you guys so much for your time. It was an honor to serve you guys, and I can't wait till we start these discussion questions. Thank you guys so much.
The Justice Circle, as we are a gathering of faith and community leaders, is asking a very important question: how do things get better? Our belief is, first of all, that things can get better, but our second belief is that things won't get better unless we sit around the table, learn to look into one another's eyes and hear stories and learn names, and know that an opinion always has a story underneath it or behind it. Today's conversation is between leaders from the black community and the white community, but we're going to have other discussions. For example, we're going to have another Breaking Bread event on the south side of Oklahoma City to try to hear the unique experience and the unique voice of the Latino community, and to try to better understand what it's like to be a member of the Latino community. We hope that this will be a catalyst to empathy and a catalyst to relationship building, friendship, and finally change to make us a healthier society.